Hello fantastic creatures, I'm fantasims and welcome to my channel. Alright, let's get right into it. Is The Sims 4 getting a medieval pack or a spin-off game? I've discovered a lot of convincing clues that it is highly likely we will, so stay tuned to discover what they are. Now, in the 21st anniversary stream we just had a couple days ago, it was teased that we will be getting bunk beds with an update at the end of March, so it is likely we're getting a pack at the end of March as well to go along with it. It could be that the next game pack is coming out at the same time, or it could be that we won't be getting a normal pack, but these new kits that are essentially smaller than the stuff packs but give you build, cast, and gameplay features that they won't be making a full-blown pack out of. So you can see here on the Sims community website, they posted all about it, and it has been confirmed that we are getting these new kit packs here. One of them is a country kitchen kit, a Bust the Dust kit, and a throwback fit kit. Now, I'm not going to be reporting on these kits in this video, but this could also be a possibility of what's coming out in March instead of an actual game pack or expansion pack or anything like that. If we are getting a game pack at the end of March and bunk beds will be part of that update for the pack, could it be a medieval pack? Well, the bunk beds in the image don't look medieval style, but it could be the base game version, like with the release of Eco Lifestyle, where we got base game ladders and an Eco Lifestyle version of the ladders. I can't be sure what the next pack will be, but I do think some sort of medieval pack is coming in the future, and here's why. One of the most convincing clues is this concept picture of the teddy bears from The Sims Medieval. Now, The Sims Medieval was a spin-off separate to Sims 3 that came out about 10 years ago, and here's some of the artwork of a concept artist, Miles, who worked on the spin-off Sims Medieval game. Now, this artwork was posted 10 years ago, but here's where it gets interesting. SimGuru Ninja had this image of the three bears posted as his Twitter banner last year around August, during the time people were speculating about what pack we were about to get, which turned out to be Journey to Batu. And I forgot to take a screenshot of it at the time because I never thought I'd make any speculation videos like this one, but thankfully Antoinette Mueller reported on it on Extra Time Media's website that you see right here. And here we see a screenshot of the banner from Ninja's Twitter account. Now, why would SimGuru Ninja make this banner out of the blue 10 years after the original spin-off game? Of course, the gurus love to mess with us sometimes, but most of the time when they post stuff like this, especially on Twitter, it's usually a clue. Usually the clues are super confusing, but this one seems pretty clear in my opinion. Now, alone this clue is not entirely convincing, but if you partner it with object clues within build mode of Sims 4, it starts to get more convincing. Okay, so here we have a lot where I found a bunch of clues, and I'm sure that there are many other objects that have hints. I haven't gone through every object in the game, and most of the objects come from Get Famous that have very specific hints to Sims Medieval. But before we get into those ones, there is one that has a kind of a slight hint. I could be reaching with this one, but it's the stone frame window from Get Together, and it says the perfect window for castles, libraries, and high academic institutions. The less than perfect window for actually looking outside. Don't buy this window if you're expecting mortal enemies to attack your castle, library, or high academic institution in the immediate future. Now, the only reason I think this could possibly be a clue is because it repeats itself twice, and also it talks about high academic institution, and we did later get the Discover University pack, so the fact that it's also including castle could be a hint. It repeats it twice, but it also repeats library, and I don't think they're making a pack all about libraries, so that one's probably reaching a bit. But the ones that really clearly link to Sims Medieval are these objects from Get Famous. Okay, so let's start with this sofa. Now, if you read the descriptions of the objects with Get Famous, it does have this huge storyline about this character, Queen Louisa Nanette, and we don't know a ton about her, but there's this ongoing story that you discover as you read the descriptions. And here it says, Queen Louisa Nanette had a single pet, a small white kitten named Fleur. This was her couch. Anyone else who touched it was to visit the Pit of Judgment for a meeting with the Pit Monster. Now, we know with Sims Medieval that there was literally a Pit of Judgment, it was called that, and we know about the Pit Monster. And I find it really bizarre that in the storyline that's painted throughout the Get Famous objects, that it specifically references two distinct things in Sims Medieval, but it goes beyond that. But before we get into that, I do want to share a caveat that could disprove this, and that is with this medieval castle that is a project, a kid's project, that's part of the Parenthood pack. And in this description, it says, reconstruct and learn about the daily life of medieval Sims. Sixam Pit Beast not included. Now, I thought that was a weird link because I've never actually been to Sixam, which is the alien planet that comes along with Get to Work pack, but I don't think that they have a pit beast. I could be wrong, let me know in the comments below. And in Sims Medieval, it's not called a pit beast, it's called a pit monster. So I don't know if this would disprove that a medieval pack was coming and instead it's supposed to be linked somehow to the Sixam pit beast or not. So that could throw off this whole hint from this sofa about about the Pit of Judgment and the Pit Beast. But it doesn't end there, because over here with these objects from Get Famous, the throne is actually specifically called Tournament of Honor Throne, and Tournament of Honor is also a key feature in The Sims Medieval. Now, the Tournament of Honor is a quest that your sim must complete to get the kingdom to pledge its loyalty to you as their ruler. Now, these three objects from Get Famous specifically reference the Tournament of Honor, and this lamp is called a medieval lamp in relation to the Tournament of Honor, which ties an even greater link to Sims Medieval. And the chandeliers do mention that these props are for use during the filming of Tournament of Honor, so it could be that these objects are just a nod to Sims Medieval and not necessarily predicting that a new version of Sims Medieval will come out. It could just be that they named this Get Famous movie after that. But I do think it is rather odd to have so many objects called Tournament of Honor, specifically calling them medieval, and when you put all the clues together, you start to get a bit of a picture that it could be coming. But the references to Sims Medieval does not stop here. We also have this cannon and this pirate ship wheel, and if you read the descriptions, the cannon says that this cannon recreation was made to help sell the authenticity of Treasures of Arbyville. Luckily, it can't actually be fired for your own safety. Now, that line, Treasures of Arbyville, is capitalized, and the importance of that is actually part of the Sims Medieval. Pirates and Nobles was actually an additional pack that you could add on to the Sims Medieval, and this Pirates and Nobles adventure pack introduces new quests, treasure hunting, and hundreds of new objects for your medieval kingdom. So your epic story starts when the Pirates of Arbyville and the Nobles of Tredoni arrive in your kingdom. Now, one of the big aspects of this adventure pack is that you can collect treasure. So you can go treasure hunting and uncover hidden objects. Now, Treasures of Arbyville isn't capitalized in the description of Pirates and Nobles like it is in the canon object description here. Instead of having Pirates of Arbyville capitalized like the original pack, it says Treasures of Arbyville. So it's not 100% identical, but I do think that it is very curious that they've capitalized it as if it's a specific link to Sims Medieval. And again, they might just be creating it as one of the movie titles for the Get Famous pack to kind of link the different Sims iterations together. That could actually be the reason. I'm willing to admit that. And then if we look at the pirate ship wheel description, it says that you will believe you are the dread pirate Morgan behind the wheel of the legendary pirate ship, the Red Annie. Now, in the Sims Medieval, you can have dread pirate as a trait for Sims that help lead the pirate raids. So even though I don't think there's a specific dread pirate Morgan, the fact that they included dread pirate and that was a trait in Sims Medieval, it just seems like a very specific link. Now, this one might be a bit of a stretch, but there's this painting collection of medieval paintings. There's also a couple of other swatches, but they all have the same description. Canvas paintings in the works, and it talks about a typical Middle Ages backdrop. And the thing I find interesting is it's specifically medieval. It could just be the movie set theme for the Get Famous pack. It could have nothing to do with speculation. But I found it interesting that the title says paintings in the works. Now, granted, they are unfinished paintings that are in the works. It could just be describing that these paintings are unfinished. But if they're being sneaky, it could also be a link that medieval is in the works. I know, I'm grasping at straws here, and that probably isn't what it means at all. But when you put everything together, you're starting to get a picture that, there's a lot of hints about medieval. And if it were just the medieval objects that were linked with titles and descriptions to The Sims Medieval, that would be one thing. But the fact that the other furniture from Get Famous that doesn't have to do with medieval props also links to specific names like the Pit Monster and the Pit of Judgment, I don't know, that seems like they're really trying to link it to a potential medieval pack. Then, these clues aren't as strong as some of these other objects, and I'm not going to read the entire descriptions because they are super long, but it describes further the story of Queen Louisa Nanette and this guy who's fawning over her that is actually the court jester. Jester is generic, it might not link to anything medieval, but we do know that there are jesters in The Sims Medieval, and the interesting story about this jester is he's actually royalty in disguise. Okay, now why does it matter that these windows each share a bit more of this story between this queen and the jester who's secretly in love with her? Well, there's this common theme in Get Famous about royalty, specifically like queen, king, jester, all that kind of stuff. And while that might not seem like a big deal, the fact that it's interwoven through so many objects, I didn't pick out all the objects that speak to royalty, and royalty isn't really part of the Get Famous pack. You can be a celebrity, and the only thing that would point to a royal theme is these movie props that cater to a castle and to medieval times. But other than that, this hidden secret story about this mysterious queen and this background story for her has had a lot of people speculate over the past couple years, because Get Famous came out in 2018, about something to do with royalty. And this might be another stretch, but recently Sims Mobile has had some royal gameplay, and I know that Sims Mobile is a completely separate game, but many of the Sims 4 themes, objects, and gameplay end up in the mobile game. So perhaps Sims 4 will get some of what is in the Sims Mobile with this new theme and focus on royalty. Of course, that's not specifically saying it would be anything medieval, but who knows? When they recreate themes from previous iterations of the game, they don't do it exactly the same. So I don't think that they would come out with a literal spin-off like they did during Sims 3 era, but I could see them doing some sort of castle medieval type pack. Maybe with some different gameplay, maybe it wouldn't focus on the same kind of storyline gameplay. Who knows? But perhaps the most recent hint that could really be pointing to it are these little Simmies from Snowy Escape. Now, Snowy Escape is a Japanese-themed pack, but you can collect these Simmies. So most of these Simmy characters are either in the game, like Father Winter, the gnomes. The only thing that could disprove what I'm about to say is there is a bellhop buddy Simmy, and that's actually from a different Sims game, and that's My Sims. There is Buddy the Bellhop. As you can see here, Buddy the Bellhop is a character from that game. But I do find it interesting that within this latest expansion pack that we've had, there's specifically these Simmies. This is the Pit Beast in gold and then in this color, and it's the exact same color as Sims Medieval Pit Beast, which is blue. And then we get the golden Medieval Grim Simmy, or the regular Medieval Grim Simmy. And these just feel very specific. Why the Medieval Grim Reaper when it could just be the regular Grim Reaper? Like in Nifty Knitting, there's the Grim Reaper, and it's a nod to the actual Grim Reaper that we do have. But I also find it interesting that sometime last year, I don't know if it was the Simmer Simproved, she makes amazing builds by the way, check her out on YouTube, but Simproved, I remember, posted something on Twitter about the Sims Medieval Grim Reaper being the coolest one, and I know that other Simmers were posting the same kinds of things about how cool the Medieval Grim Reaper is compared to the one we get in the game. And then I find it interesting that after all that was circulating on Twitter, we get these Simmies in the Snowy Escape pack. Now, it could just be coincidence, but could this be pointing to a future medieval pack? Now, like I said, I haven't gone through every object in the game. I only came across these descriptions as I was playing around with objects and just curiously read the description. So there could be more. Maybe you guys can show me some that you've discovered. Now, is this all wishful thinking on my part? Yes, of course. I desperately want some sort of medieval royalty pack so I can rule the world and make peasants do my bidding. I'm just kidding. But I'd love to be able to build castles a lot easier than it is for me now when I spend an entire day just trying to make a convincing castle tower. But I also think these are some pretty strong clues, considering that we've gotten other packs before based on the clue of only just one or two objects, and here we have a whole collection of objects that just seem to really specifically be pointing towards Sims Medieval. I could be totally wrong. What do you guys think? Do you think these clues are convincing enough? Do you think that I'm just grasping at straws? Do you think this is just a nod to the old Sims Medieval game and has nothing to do with a future pack? I don't know, but the fact that SimGuru Ninja posted that medieval bear banner at a really random time, left it up there for a while, said nothing, and just left it out there for us to see. I don't know, I feel like they're really working on something, and I know that these clues from Get Famous are from like 2-3 years ago, but it does take a couple years sometimes to do a pack, so maybe it's been in the works this whole time, maybe it's coming close to them being finished. I don't know, what do you guys think? Thanks for listening to my shenanigans today. If you like this video, please give it an encouraging thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified about fresh content. You guys know I freaking love you.